You awaken to the sound of lapping water washing over the warm shores. Scaled, heavy feet kick stones as they cross the rocky outcrop. Chants from the shelled crowd as a pair dance in fierce combat. Echoes from beneath the waves as the seal riders race to deliver a message. You have awoken in the world of the Cryptic Galapagos.
Sit down.
Hello chaps, and welcome to this first official episode of the Bards Worldbuilding podcast. My name is Ross, aka the Bracken Bard, creator of the YouTube channel of the same name and the worldbuilding project The Acceleration. And I'm here to introduce you to a myriad of wonderful world builders from across the internet and beyond to chat with them, understand their projects better, and learn from their skills as artists, writers, and overall interesting individuals. Today I am joined by the cryptic creator of cold-blooded creatures. It is Matt from the Cryptic Galapagos. Matt, welcome. How are you doing?
Hello. Doing great. I can't complain. Yourself?
Very, very good. Thanks. Appreciate you here. We were just talking about it before, but I am going to reiterate. I appreciate you being my first official guest. You feel under pressure as the first guest at all?
Nah, I'm chill. I'm used to talking too much for work and stuff, so I'm quite comfortable. I'm excited to be here, and I think
Perfect.
it's interesting. It's awesome. Very excited.
Great. We're both professional chatters. It's my
There
job
we
to
go.
talk a lot as well. Yeah.
There we go.
Well, let's get started. If someone was to come across your project or to talk to you about it, and they had never heard any of your kind of world building or seen your videos before, how would you summarize your world building project to them?
Yeah. So my world is called the Cryptic Galapagos. It's at heart, it's a world building project that's set on the Galapagos archipelago. I like to believe that it's a very grounded world, like in the sense that it's very, very much based around real world biology with a bit of a fantastical twist. So stories about clans and war, and then also a lot of speculative evolution, which is also something nice I'd like to sprinkle in there. But but the way I'd like to actually tell the story is via a video game. So the idea is building a world with a community in mind, and then getting this project to a phase where it can become a full-fledged video game. So yeah, that's my summary. What I tell everyone. But yeah,
Amazing. Yeah, I think it summarizes it perfectly. And it's interesting that you chose the Galapagos Islands specifically. I mean, do you know, judging by your voice, I guess you're from South Africa. Am I wrong there?
correct. Yeah.
And you were not tempted to do something set locally. Why did you choose to do the Galapagos Islands specifically?
So that's a very good question. Look, I love all the creatures in South Africa. I mean, a lot of the reason why I like to draw and paint and all the stuff, and which has now turned into digital art, is because of my love of animals. Um, I wish I went into like marine biology and things, but I honestly just love to draw and to paint and to tell stories and film and all those things. So I'm trying to mix genres here, and I think it comes from the love of animals itself. And I think I enjoy playing simulation games. Like one of my favorite games that I used to play a lot is like the Isle, which is like a dinosaur survival game. And then all these simulation games that I really found fun. And in those games you can customize your dinosaur, and you can do all this. Path of Titans is the same, and like a lot of games where the cosmetics is like the key thing. And I think I just wanted to see a game where where I have a lot of things that I can use, or there's a lot of stuff in video games that I want to see, especially things like companions and endless amounts of skins and things. And I thought a reptile will be a perfect thing to use to create like these organic, beautiful skins and stuff. So I thought that'd be a good point to start. And I wanted something a bit more fantastical. So I've always been interested in the Galapagos Islands because it was very strange, and there was also this aquatic marine iguana that was like one of a kind. I think the only saltwater reptile that dives for its food and is actually like a saltwater sea animal, which is very strange. The Galapagos in itself is a very, very strange place, and that it's very intriguing to me. And I think it's a good. It's also very isolated, and there's a lot of ground there for some good storytelling, some good world building. And the thing is, since it's so strange, people won't really bat an eye when we add some more strange stuff to it. So I think the Galapagos is a great setting in that regard. But yeah, I wanted to. The reason why I think I haven't done like a South African one is just um, I wanted to give it a bit more grounded. Uh, and yeah, I think just purely out of interest, I really enjoy the Galapagos. It's fine to. I know your world is set very much in like where you're from,
Hmm.
and that's great. And we have some great animal life here in South Africa as well. But I just really like the Galapagos. I found it fascinating, and I love fishing, and I love doing all these things and going out and diving and all these things. And I just think I want to go do it there as well. And I just love the idea of setting a game in a place um, where it's so dangerous, it's so wild, and the Galapagos is that perfect setting. There's a lot of mystery around those islands, and I wanted to get like a nice kick-ass island that I can use.
I mean, it totally makes sense. Like you said, I think especially from a biologist kind of point of view, someone who's interested in biology, obviously the connection with Darwin there, the speculative evolution, and the whole. I
Correct,
mean, Darwinism comes from his study of the Galapagos Islands, right? So I mean, it
correct.
totally makes sense. Yeah,
And also like Darwin is Darwin obviously went there in the 1800s, and he discovered like the theory of evolution, and it very much comes from there. And there was another big thing is also like you know the marine iguana itself is a great creature, but imagine just in a world where you can adapt your creature for strength or for speed or for like camouflage, and evolving those traits as you go on in the game. Then
hmm
I'm ticking all the boxes of stuff I want to see in a video game. And I think, where evolution as a concept, well, as a theory started on the island of the Galapagos, or the islands, I should say, that's a great place to set a video game world around that place where it all would make sense and where it's sort of very appropriate to have an speculative evolution based game set on a remote island where very strange things start. So I think it makes fairly it makes a lot of sense to me.
Perfect. I completely agree. Yeah, I think it's going to be I'm very excited for the game. I assume a lot of people in your comments are as well. I think it's a cool idea, and I'm the same as you. I used to play a lot of Spore. I would say it's not the best example of
Sport.
evolution, but yeah, I completely agree. I think it'd be interesting, especially on the Galapagos Islands.
Absolutely. I think, and also, just like you're mentioning Spore now, like that's also sort of you're creating something in a line that fits your play style. So,
Hmm.
you can maybe evolve a creature that is fast. Maybe you want to play fast. You want to go fast. You want to get in, fight quickly, and move on. Or you want to go heavy. You're more of a tank build, like a Vanguard or something, and you want to take your time. You want to farm some aura, as the Gen Zers say, and that type of deal. Or maybe you just want maybe you want to be a glass cannon and you just want to go in guns a blazing and just attack everything, but you're very frail. So I think allowing players to choose their play style, but while also adding some great in-depth lore to getting to that point is also quite nice. Look, I can write about this stuff. I can write about this stuff and make a very, very beautiful story, and there's nothing wrong with that. I want to do that anyway, but I think a video game adds so much more to a world because you're in that world, you're in that setting, you're running around on the beaches, on the rocks, you hear the wind, you hear the seagulls, and just being in that environment, I understand is like a massive form of escapism, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's great. And it's also based on, the real world stuff, so it's not too far fetched. So I think
Absolutely.
that's something I also really enjoy.
Yeah, completely. That the kind of escapism you get from those open world games is just it's different. than just reading a book or anything like that. It's just a different way
You
of
you
kind of
get
learning.
it
Yeah.
you get that from every you get it from a movie, you get it from all sorts of media. But I think it might sound a bit odd, but when I was a lad, I was sitting, just running around in certain parts of video game because I just enjoyed being in that level. I don't know if that
Mm,
makes sense, but it
absolutely.
might be to some, and that might be some nostalgia biased, in there. But I think there's something very nice about just fishing. My one friend used to invite me over to fish, but it was like on Far Cry 4 or something on the
Right.
PlayStation or some kind of crazy like that. And I just thought it was the weirdest thing, but he enjoyed it. He loved it, and it was just like, okay, we'll fish, and that was fine. And that I think is very very. It's everyone everyone relaxes in the same way, and some people in very different ways. So yeah.
Very well said. Yeah. Speaking of a video game, do you, when you're kind of designing the Cryptic Galapagos and you're thinking of things to add to the lore, is it, in your opinion, do you think it's necessary to consider the game mechanics in advance before even knowing if they're possible or trying them out? Or do you always abide by the rule of cool? Do you always try to make sure that
Wow.
it's it's cool first before checking if it's possible?
I'll I'll definitely be lying if I say, lore comes first. Like I want some kick-ass video game stuff in place first. The story and the lore is very important, but I'm gonna be honest when I say, um, a lot of times I have a cool concept for story, and then sometimes I have just the best idea for weapons and things I want to see that would make sense. And so my answer to that would basically be, I think I'll start with some texture first. I call it texture. It's essentially like things I want to see in the world, and sometimes I'll write around that. But I think it's very important to also have a character, to have a look and a feel, and then you add your lore, and then you stick to your lore. So for me, I think it can go either way. But I'll be very honest. I started with like some nice skin textures. I wanted to see multiple skin patterns and some beautiful different, like very ornate shapes and things I wanted to see on these reptiles. And at one point, I designed weapons. I'm like, yo, I'm just gonna design a whole catalog of weapons, like melee
Yeah,
weapons, ranged weapons. And I found like, okay, well, I can't make a, let's say, stainless steel weapon, because how are they going to find, how are iguanas that are supposed to be scavenging on beaches and walking around, how are they going to find that? So, and it's
yeah,
the story is also set in the 1800s, and we know there's humans are not at the islands a lot. It's still very barren, and they're not going to have access. It's like a stainless steel sword will be a very, very rare thing to come upon. So I thought, designing some weapons, and I actually worked my way back, and then I added, like, there's one clan in my world that has they they essentially they use shark teeth, and they put the shark teeth on very, very well crafted pieces of wood. It's based on like Hawaiian, ancient Hawaiian tribal cultures. Like
mm,
it's not nothing that I sucked out of my thumb. It's very much based on real world stuff, but it's more of an appreciative type of thing. And also, it's pretty badass putting shark teeth on a stick and going
100%.
mad. It's
Yeah,
it's sick to me. So there's the cool factor for you.
yeah,
But I'd also definitely say good lore and strong foundational lore is very important for storytelling and mechanics. But I think the one thing I had in mind for a game mechanic was, what if, like I said to you guys in the collab video, what if, you have your game, you play, and if you die, you don't respawn. You actually go to a second place, like the middle, what I call the spirit realm or the ethereal realm. And here you don't want to be there because it's dangerous. You're gonna lose a lot of HP if you die in that realm, but you have a second chance to get back to life. But that adds a little extra. But some people will see it as an annoyance, and some people will go, "Well, I want to see what happens in this realm. Why is this extra step here?" So you don't actually lose anything if you just get back to life, but
hmm,
but you can actually lose a lot of stuff if you die in that realm. So and there's also a lot of lore around that. I'll give you a good example. Um, so you know Thor's hammer, right?
Hmm.
People know Thor's hammer. If I ask you, who can lift Thor's hammer? Like a handful of people, right?
Yeah,
Not too many people, not too many characters, but everyone knows only Thor can lift his hammer, and it's because he's worthy, and no one else can lift the hammer because they're not worthy. But there are points in the story where other characters do pick up that hammer, in most cases quite effortlessly. And then you go, well, without actually, explaining and giving a lot of exposition to your viewers, you're actually telling them all they need to know by one law breaking or law breaking thing that happened. Just
absolutely.
because, and that to me, that visual storytelling to me is very important. So I think that's where I would say mechanics, very important, mechanics of the world. Um, Setting rules in place is great for great storytelling moments. Um, so to me, that's very, very important to actually give yourself a few rules, and you have to work with those rules. You can't be breaking them all the time. Um, I know people love like Dragon Ball Z and Superman, and I know Superman is like, kryptonite is his weakness. And then Dragon Ball Z, those guys are just overpowered all the time. I'm like,
Yeah.
give me a character that can, like, I've always loved the Predator franchise just because the Predators are so badass. The Yautja. Obviously on the recency biased for Predator because I just watched Badlands and it was great. And also again, those Predators are like profoundly known for how great they are and how strong they are and how badass they are, but they die and they can bleed, So that to me is like you can write those characters and not make every single character like very overpowered. So I want to say lore is important, but also, put things in place for your viewers or your players in my case to actually understand. You know, you can't just be going running to that guy with that armor because that armor does A B C D E and you saw this happen. So you're
Mm.
gonna be careful. Like visual learning in that sense is very interesting to me, and there's ways of telling a story visually, and to me that's very interesting. So I'm blending a lot of concepts together, so I don't really have an answer law or game mechanics.
Hmm.
It's very tricky to answer because a lot of my viewers are like, I think I have three. There's three of them. They are the people that love. They can't wait for the video game. That's the one, and I love those guys. Then we have the speculative evolution viewers. They love Spec Evo. They want to see some crazy creatures. They want to see what happens when creatures are put to the test and going through a lot of pressure to evolve, and they want to see what happens. And then we
Hmm.
also just have our what I call our lore enthusiasts. They want a good story. They want to dive in the lore. They want to look at each nook and cranny, each pattern, each texture, each piece. They want to understand what is happening in this world, and I love that. And those are the three. Those are the three heads that I have to work with, and I gotta feed all of them. Otherwise, I'm losing a big portion of my audience. So I'm trying to blend all the concepts together. Always keep game mechanics in mind, keep Spec Evo in mind, and then keep lore in mind as well. So I think that's a good answer to your question. I
Yeah,
think.
absolutely.
Okay, yeah. So that's that one. Yeah.
Some good analogies in there as well, like the Thor one, like that with that visual storytelling. But I completely understand. It's like you said, you want it to make sense and there to be logic. So there's like kind of rules that you can follow, and you would only break them in very specific situations where it's necessary for the reason you're trying to put across. But yeah,
Correct.
great explanation.
I'll also say like something, a concept like fire breathing to me is an awesome concept, and you can work with it. I think like Sawyer Lee has a great way of explaining how he's dragons because he has like a dragon world building project, and a book that I think he has multiple books, the Dragon Slayer Codex, and he has a creative way of writing how his dragons actually breathe fire, and it's very much grounded in realism. And I think, to me, that's also very important to not make it too fantastical in my setting, at least. I mean, go crazy for your stories and add magic in there, but if I wanna add some very fantastical themes like magic or something, it's gonna have to be grounded in um some sort of foundation of realism in the game mechanics and then in the lore as well. So, no fireball, just
Right.
no one can cast fireball. It's just gonna be like breathe your fire, but there will be rules. You can't just like go around and just blazing everyone. You're gonna have to get to a point where you're gonna have to evolve those traits. You're gonna have to work them. You're gonna have to take care of those lungs, so to speak, or whatever. So it's I like that. To me, that's very interesting. So yeah, just wanted to add that little side note in there.
Amazing. Yeah, grounded in realism. I like that. Speaking of, you mentioned a lot of different aspects of your game and your project there, and that kind of leads on to the next point I wanted to ask. Actually, how do you stay motivated and inspired, and
Damn,
how do you come up with new ideas? I think it's kind of the bane of every person who's writing a book
absolutely.
or world building. It seems to be one of the biggest, I think, roadblocks for anyone who's trying to, create anything really. So, what's your kind of methodology?
Jeez, we're really getting deep here, because that's something I really do struggle with. It's the one thing that I want to get better at is posting more often, and then just also getting the content out there, but also being happy with it. I think that's sort of my things as well. I want to be happy with the stuff that I put out. I just don't want to like quality, compared to quantity in my case. But a simple way I like to stay motivated when I really don't feel like, today's not the day and I'm not going to draw. The thing is, we can't go out and film something because we're artists. We have to draw, we have to present a piece of art and tell people about what we've made. So it's hard to go out and just film. I can't film anything and come back and just start patching it up together and start editing. We can't do that. We have to have a finished piece or a finished sketch or something to show for. Otherwise, we have nothing to show. So I like to scroll on Pinterest. Even when I know I'm not motivated, I just scroll on Pinterest, and Pinterest is like food for the creative. I think
Absolutely.
everything is on there that I want to see. Everything that I've recently searched is on there. For me, it's a lot of armor reference and just like some nice like sketches of creatures, dinosaurs and things. Just some good scale work in my case. So even though I'm not in the mood to draw, but I know I need to, I'll scroll on Pinterest and I'll just. It used to be Instagram as well, but then there's one button that just makes you like doom scroll, and then you're not
Absolutely. Yeah.
productive at all. So I'm not that much on Instagram when it comes to motivation. That's like a big. Also another one I do is, so this works for me. It might not work for everyone else, but I definitely think it's important. I'll put it in three. So Pinterest is definitely one. The second one I'll definitely say is listening to music that you enjoy to work to. And for me, listening to music that I can see in the world that I'm building, if that makes sense. Like a score, like a movie score or something that I love to listen to. It's very weird to casually listen to movie scores, maybe to the average person, but to me, like like wanting to see something like that in my world is very important. So I listen to that. It also motivates me a bit. And then sometimes when I listen to that and I'm not working, it sort of puts me in the mindset to like, hey, maybe I should just start, and that helps me a lot to get to that point of just starting to work. When I'm not in the mood to actually draw or anything like that. Um, and then I'll definitely say maybe a bit more of a, I think a narcissistic is a very, very harsh word maybe now, but I like to rewatch my own videos just to reignite the passion,
Mm,
just to remind yourself like you spent all this time making this video, you're very proud of it, and listen to your own voice and listen to yourself talk about this project that you're making, and it becomes very, very infectious, and that might just be something that maybe motivates you to keep going. And I think it's very, very weird how we use our previous stepping stones, to keep moving forward, but it's to me it's very important. So I'll sit in the car and I'll just listen to the videos and maybe critique them a bit, sometimes a bit too much, but at
right.
least you're listening and you're visualizing things, and for me that works. It might not work for everyone, but I think those are the three. So maybe so Pinterest, definitely a good one. Listening to music that you enjoy to listen to when you are working. For me, it's like anything by Giant Squid. I'm gonna butcher their name now. Giant Squid Studio, something. I think they made Absu, Journey, Sword of the Sea, and those soundtracks are just beautiful. And I love listening. It's very calming. It's very sea themed, so I like stuff like that. And then a very weird one is Disney's Dinosaur. Love that soundtrack.
Right. That's a throwback.
I love that soundtrack. Go listen to that. It's one of the best. It just feels very tribal to me, if that makes sense, and I think I can see that work. Also, funny enough, a story about reptiles, but nonetheless, it makes a lot of sense to me, and it's very soft. It's just present, just in the background, but I really do enjoy to put on some nice music and just get in the zen. And I need coffee. Coffee is a good one. Um,
It's the
it also
fuel for our
just yeah,
brains.
it's the
Absolutely.
fuel I need it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think those are the ones. If I had to advise anyone, but it might not work for everyone, but that's definitely what works for me.
Amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think, I use all the same as you. And I completely agree with going through your old videos, because I feel like sometimes we just need a little reminder of what we're working towards. And as you said, I think it's quite healthy to critique the things you used to do. I think, your channel is a good example, because you actually actively redid
The
a few
video,
of
yeah.
your evolutions, right? So you did that kind of to the extreme with three of your videos. But I think it was actually really interesting to watch the original one and then immediately watch the one afterwards, and then you can see the progress that you've made in your kind of journey with your project, but also the art and the kind of the logic in your references. It was really cool. It was quite inspiring actually to see that.
I'm so happy you say that because it's I look back at those first three videos and I'm like, damn, this was trash. This was me just wanting to get something out, just to get the concept out there, and it was actually good, but also to me, I just wanted to let the people know, hey, we've improved. I've I want to do it justice. So I'm happy you say that, and I think, like you say, it might be interesting to go back and see where the original idea began and that now where we're at right now. So I'm happy
100%.
you say that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, speaking of looking through Pinterest and finding those that's something to inspire you, have you? Would you say that you had any particular influence, both in your journey as an artist in general, but also in starting this YouTube channel and starting Cryptic Galapagos? Was there any particular person who inspired you, or was it kind of any particular art or novel or story in general?
I think can I do like artists in general, and then yeah, maybe just artists, like, oh, you mean like artists in general?
Yeah, so you as an artist, just your art style, and because you really draw like realism
Yeah.
and that kind of way of illustrating images,
Oh, I
and then
got one.
also your project.
Okay, I got. I think I have a few. I have a few. Okay, so one. I think what my favorite. I think my favorite artist that I really enjoy, and maybe it's more to do with his concepts and his style, is a guy named Tony de Tirolesi. I don't think I'm saying his surname correctly, but it's the he did Spiderwick Chronicles. It's books.
Yes.
It's a range of books that came out in like the late 2000s, and I love those books. I bought them all, and I was a kid, and I think those books were like very, very good fundament. Ooh, hang on, foundational foundational work for and fundamental for my creativity as a little young guy, and I think that helped a lot. And I still to this day I really do admire his artwork because, like I said to you earlier, do really I really enjoy like animals and creatures, and I used to collect like these vintage animal books from the bookstores, and his style of drawing is very, very much that. So he takes a concept like something like a goblin, which a normal person would draw with like green, with humanoid green, short, spiky ears, and he's like, no, 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 none of that. I'm gonna turn this thing into like a frog hybrid with that shoves glass in its mouth for teeth, and I'm like, what is this? This guy is cooking. The Lord is insane, and is using believable concepts. Maybe you'll see like a universal theme there, like using real life inspiration to make these creatures work. Very much making them seem like animals in a way, rather than just like fantastical creatures that just appeared. Like it seems like something that you'll see in the animal kingdom, and he draws them beautifully in a very, very nostalgic style that also feels very like a 1800s vintage art book. And I have all his books, but you can pull it up, you can have a look. But those, his style is amazing to me. Also another artist that does great work when it comes to communicating a concept from a cartoon to realism is a guy called Arvalis. I think his name is Arvalis. He does like realistic Pokemon and stuff like that. But he takes this cartoon, and then he interprets it as a real life creature that's also very much inspired by nature. And he did like Flygon and Dragonite and Charizard, all the starters, and he made them look like actual animals, and to me
Mm.
in hyper realistic, to the point where it seemed like I wouldn't be shocked if I see some of these creatures in the wild. And it's to me, that is just the creativity that it has to take to think of these things are, to me, is out of this world. So I'll definitely say art wise, taking concepts and working with it, and getting strong influence from nature is very, very important, so that to me, the stuff still needs to feel very grounded and it feels tangible in a sense. Look, I love also the important thing you also asked about, like other influencers and other maybe YouTubers and creatives in the space. There's a whole ton of other creatives that they're all in their own lane, and I think it's there's nothing wrong with liking multiple like pages and storytelling and worlds and all those things, because we all appreciate them all for different reasons. So I just thought, getting started was very, very important. And I had an idea of what I wanted to create, and those were my, I'd say, biggest inspirations were like these artists that are just on their own journey, they're doing their own thing, and I'm like, you know, I want to do that. That's exactly what I want to do. Maybe just show the people the world I have in mind. Was very, very important to me.
Amazing. Yeah, I think that is important. Like you said, especially when considering your art style and how you draw. I think it's good to have those points of reference. Like you said, I can really see that in your art. It's like grounded in realism and then kind of stretched towards fantastical.
Yes,
And I think it's cool because like you were saying, it seems almost believable with a lot of the different creatures that you show in a lot of your videos. You can really see that influence kind of coming through,
there
which
we
is cool.
go. Happy you say that. Fantastic.
Amazing. I hope you're enjoying today's episode, but I'm going to interrupt this chat for a very quick ad read. Today's episode is sponsored by me. That's right, I gave myself some money to talk about myself. If you like world building, I'm creating my own world building project called The Acceleration, a post-apocalyptic setting where humans and intelligent animals live side by side on the Albion Isles. In the great overgrown forests are ruins filled with ancient and powerful treasure, but also dangerous mutated beasts called trolls, overgrown birds and mammals, and even long wandering sentinel drones. I also do interviews with other wonderful world builders, as you can see, plus I live stream every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. UK time. We also have a Discord where we hang out, chat about art, and sometimes even do competitions. If that sounds good to you, feel free to hit that sub button. Anyway, let's get back to my very interesting guest. So, obviously, with the Cryptic Galapagos, you've kind of hinted at a few characters. There's like Varanus, the kind of one of the antagonists, right? I remember you saying that. I think your Discord and some of your subscribers are pretty excited about that guy. Um,
Yes.
but is there a particular person or even a particular faction that you're really excited about and that you really enjoy kind of creating and developing?
Yeah, like you said, Varanus is a funny one because that was me just thinking of, you know, this will be a great concept. Once again, like the lore came first, and the world building and everything that came first, and then after that came the game mechanics thing. But Varanus is a character I'm developing. That character we will see in the actual game. But me backtracking a bit and giving the viewers like a prologue. Yeah, a prologue is very very like a prequel essentially. Was very important. And then there's a new character that I recently worked on for the Inktober challenge, and it has to do with like the start of what I call the Eldar War, which is a very very important event in the Cryptic Galapagos. And his name is Cairo the Cruel. Cairo the Cruel is like one of four brothers, the brothers of Eldar, and he is a sadistic, layered, like Royal Marine iguana. He's a very very complicated character, but also maybe relatable to some people. But he's very very much a bad influence. Um, I think why I resonate with this character, I wouldn't say resonate. I think why I enjoy working on him is because I have good reference. Because for a lot of my characters that I write, I go off base of people that I know and have had very vivid experiences with. So Cairo is based on an old colleague of mine that used to be very manipulative and very cunning in a way, cunning like a fox. And the orangey hue was very very important for this character to me because he needed to give that energy of he is cunning, he's calculated, he's smart, and it was very very important to me. And every time I was like, I had a bit of writer's block as to what will this character do in this sense. I just think, well, what will that old colleague of mine do? What will he do? And it made it quite easy for me to write with this character. So I just see him maybe becoming like a fan favorite because he is this way. It's good for stories. It's bad for real life. But but yeah. So I think Cairo is very cutthroat. Is very much gets to the point. Nothing like me, of course. Me as a person, I'm not like that at all. But I enjoy. Maybe sometimes there's a side of you that wish you were that way, but maybe you just aren't that way. But he's very much, punches first, questions later. So I think that's very important. To write a character, and you can base them off someone. We have other characters like his brother Marek, Bruton, and Arden. They have all different personalities. Bruton goes through a crazy character arc, but see, the thing is, I'm sitting here, I'm telling you this, but no one knows what it is yet.
Oh,
But
insider
yeah,
peaks. Yeah.
there we go. So if we I'm launching a video about the whole Inktober story, because it was basically the whole story of how things started, and it will cover the four brothers in there. But I gotta say, when you watch that video, whenever it comes out, you'll definitely get the vibe of what Cairo is about. Cairo, he earns that name, Cairo the Cruel, Cairo the Spear. He is a devilish character, and he always finds a way to make things work out for him, which I find is crazy how that happens. And I want to say like my favorite character is like Gular. Gular is like he's the alpha male, currently the current alpha male of the Soul Scale Malachite Knights.
Oh
He's a
yeah.
good guy. He has a heart of gold. He's a good leader. The people love him. But that's so, that's it might be vanilla. I want to add a bit more to the character that makes him be like, okay, maybe he's this great character, but maybe he's hiding something. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something small, but maybe it's something big. We don't know. But I want to give some texture to those characters first, which I think is very, very, very important. And he will have a lot of conflict with Keitha, which is a character from the Seal Rider video. Um, but short answer, Cairo is my favorite character. I think he's good so far. I like him so far.
Amazing. real life influences. I think it's the best way to do it. Just
That's
adds
very important.
realism to a character's backstory, right?
Very
Amazing.
important.
So obviously, a big aspect of your world is writing up this story in advance. You
Yeah.
know, a lot. Your videos contain a lot of art. You know, you mentioned all of the weapon art that you did before, and I remember when you were kind of redesigning some of your evolutions. You had like almost like pencil sketches, and then on top of that, some concept sketches. So for you, which one is more of a priority, would you say? Do you prefer to write, to draw, or the actual video editing and the storytelling part of it?
I'll be very frank. I think I enjoy the drawing part the most. That is just the actual getting down and dirty and sketching out ideas to me is fun. I want to say there's a lot of tools to aid your writing these days, and it can help you to like just to organize your writing a bit. But to me, getting down by actually drawing something and figuring it out and pulling reference, to me that is the building part of world building. So I think that's very important, and especially designing game mechanics, that's fun to me. Telling a story, everyone is going to say, oh well, this is Hamlet, or this is Romeo and Juliet, or they're always going to pull reference, but your world building is different to other projects, and I think that's something that makes it a bit more unique. I like to use the word texture a lot when it comes to world building, because there might be small. I have one weapon idea that I thought about. I thought about this because I wanted to make like weapons. So imagine you have a spear. Okay, you throw a spear. Ow! You got him. You got the guy that you threw the spear at, and now what? Yeah, he took some damage. Or let's say you get a spear that you throw, and now all of a sudden he's getting chip damage, just constantly damage, damage, damage. So let's say we put something. Okay, well, let's say there was a venomous substance that you put on the spear. Well, that's cool, that's smart, but I want it to be more visual. So now I say, okay, I don't know if you've heard of a man of war. We call it blow blasts. It's a man of war jellyfish.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
tie that thing in there. Make holes in the bone spear tip, and
Oh, amazing.
weed those tentacles into the spear. And therefore, when you throw it, one, the spear floats up into the surface of the water, then you can find it again. And two, damn, that's gonna suck if you get hit by a spear with a friggin' jellyfish on it. So to
That's
me,
such a
that's
cool visual.
that's you see. So just me thinking about that, I want to go crazy. I want to sketch it out. I want to show you what I'm thinking about. But I don't. I think explaining it always, like I said earlier, is like such a mess. Let me just show you, and then that visual will tell you all you need to know. Um, I think that is my favorite part of the world building. Emotional reactions are always also so funny. We spoke about something that happened in the collab video, and I'm becoming annoying by bringing this up all the time, but I found it so interesting because sometimes you would spend hours on developing a concept and people will just forget about it, and you're like, damn, I spent way too much time on this concept. And then sometimes in lore, you'll throw in a little like small detail, and then
Yeah.
people will go on about it. And for me, it was definitely writing about how in the second realm I needed a healer spirit. I needed something that when you are in the second realm and you're a spirit, you need to get health. So you can't drink in that realm, you can't eat. So you need something to sort of heal your soul in that spirit realm. So I wanted to get something that feels very like kind of heart, a very, very humble spirit. So I thought about like a little sea turtle, like swimming here above you, you interact with it, you get health, it passes on, So to me, that was important. I just wrote there very quickly, these are the spirits of baby sea turtles that didn't make it from the nest to the sea. And people loved that. I got like messages of people saying like, this is great, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, I spent hours on these other concepts, but people just tend to love small things like that. And I'm like, I think one person said they're gonna make a montage of an hour long video of just going into the spirit realm and interacting with these healer spirits just to send them to heaven or whatever, you know. So that that was like the cutest thing ever. But it's you know, it's that type of stuff that I think is very interesting about world building. And also something that's very underrated to me is, you know, when you tell your world and you set those rules in place, and then we have the actual community, you know, the viewers interacting by telling you, hey, how about this? And you know, in a lot of the times their ideas aren't far-fetched because they know it has to be these are the rules. It has to be grounded in this setting. And then they pitch like the best ideas ever. And then I feel like, damn, I really want to use that. Like, must I ask for permission? You know, so
Yeah, exactly.
it sort of feels like that. And I think that's the fun part. That also inspires me a lot. So that's where the building is like the fun part. Um, but yeah, building a game is a different story. But I think the world building part to me is the fun part, and the drawing is the fun part to me, definitely.
I must admit, I'm one of the turtle fans. I watched the whole
Is a
video, and I honestly I loved all of it, especially like the reveal at the end. But the sea, I think the sea turtle part caught me off guard because it like the I think the depth of that story and the kind of the connection with the spirit realm was it just kind of popped up.
There we
And like the
go.
other ones had like stories they were all very intriguing, but that one I think it did
That
pop
one
up.
resonates because we all
Yeah,
remember seeing that documentary of the
100%.
turtles, you know.
Yeah,
So
we all cried.
we all cried and we all were like, ah, you know, that's so at least now you feel like you can redeem them in some way, and that maybe resonates with me. So I think that stuff like that is very, very touching to me. I think it's quite funny as well how people react to that. So I'm happy it made an impact because that's also what it's all about, right? So if your art makes an
100%.
impact, you know, on someone, even if it's in the smallest way, at least it means something. So I'm happy you're on the turtle side. That's great
Yeah.
news.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so your kind of process when you're developing these ideas. So for example with the spirit realm and then these factions and these brothers and these key characters. It starts off with you writing the idea down, or you think of the idea and immediately start drawing it. How do you kind of go from A to B?
So yeah. So I think you'll definitely say. I'll use an example. I like to explain in examples. I needed. So we spoke about having a concept where when you die in a video game, you don't go back to your checkpoint and start again. You actually have to go on this detour to get back to where you were, where you died, not at a checkpoint. So I needed to make that work in some way. So I wanted to use something that I think will work quite nicely in the world, and I wrote something called Ethereum, and then there was something that's actual real world rock called malachite, and I wanted to use multiple different types of stones and crystals and things. Um, not like in a funny like you know chakra type of way. Just like I think it looks cool, and I want to see like armor made of stone. And I want to see like different stones do different things in the world. So like a massive reveal in the lore of the Cryptic Galapagos is like malachite is if you have malachite on you as a player and you die in game, you actually respawn in the spirit realm, and then you have a chance to regain your essence and return back to
Mm,
life. So basically, like an endless loop of you still age, you still go through all those things, but if you die and you have malachite or Ethereum on you, then you have a chance to return back to life, healthy as ever, but you're still aging. But malachite puts a timer on that journey. So when you get to that spirit realm, you have you don't have a lot of time to actually get back to life. You have a very, very small amount of time, but Ethereum allows you to stay in there for as long as you want, and that's a massive reveal. So
amazing.
that is like a game thing, but it's also like a story thing because you can imagine how what will happen when humans figure out like, hey, here's a crystal that basically makes you immortal as long
Mm,
as you abide to its rules and then work around those rules. But and now in this sense, we're scaling it down to an island, and creatures, and then also having them become very intelligent, and figuring out why all this stuff is happening. You're going with them on this. You have a fundamental understanding of what they understand, but there's still a lot of mystery, hence the cryptic part of the world.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that that's very, very important. Sometimes lore comes first, very, very much lore. Sometimes, like the fishing video, fishing to me is fun. There we go. There, it's the mechanic first. There's not even any story in that. I just want to see, like, this is all the fish that you can catch, and this is what the fish can do. I like this is like a small little fishy, and it becomes very big. So what if this fish, when you equip it as a companion, it can allow you to summon two big groupers that can help you fight in water. To me, that stuff is like great, and I can see how I can almost see how people will play the game one day and they won't understand what's happening in the game. They'll get like NPCs to guide them, but if you really want to know, go back to that old YouTube video
Right. Yeah.
and see, oh, that's what they do. This is what they're doing. It's me almost explaining what is what in the game, and I think it's a bit of like a Easter egg. If you know, you know type of deal. So
See.
very much new ideas come from all different sources, but like I'd say majority of them comes from having a good concept first, and then writing lore with it and around it, and then sometimes lore first. So no set answer there. It's mostly it's a bit mixed, but all over the place, if I'm being honest.
I think it's the best way to do it, definitely, because sometimes an idea just has to be jotted down, right? And sometimes an
Correct.
idea develops from a sketch that you're just scribbling into a book in the middle of a boring meeting, or
And
I
that
think,
has happened.
yeah,
Definitely.
me
That
too.
has happened.
It's funny you say, actually. I think it's a good kind of transition into the next question. You said about people playing the game and going back to the video. Where do you see this project um, in 10 years? Do you think it's going to be something you get to the end, you create the video game, it goes in a box and you sell it, and then you move on to the next project? Or is this something that you would like to continue? Like you would like to build out and build into almost, Tolkien-esque universe, or a larger
Damn.
scale project?
That'd be sick. Okay, so obviously, D, all of the above type of deal. But I think I'll be happy to say, there's two ways to go about it. The humble way, and then obviously me being like manifesting what I want, where I
Right.
want it to be. I think the humble answer is like I'll definitely expect the game to be done. It has to be finished. Maybe it's old by that time, and maybe Cryptic Galapagos 2 is on its way, and it
Amazing.
might be in a different geological location. Maybe that's in like the Caribbean, with those iguanas, or maybe it's in the
Hmm.
Amazon. You have these different things you can do. Same type of concepts, just in a different geological setting, same themes. Um, I'd love to say it has to be a live service game, because I remember that era in me playing early games in 2015, where every week the developers would like, hey, here's a new skin, like try it out, and then everyone
Hmm.
wear that skin and freak out, and the game feels different, it feels better, it feels like it's improving, and I enjoyed that like live service type deal. I'm also a big Helldivers player, and I love Helldivers, and
Me too.
what those guys do, it's amazing, so that it goes a bit stagnant for a while, then it picks up again, and then the hype is back, and those guys really care about their world, and I think that's a big important part as well. But I definitely say I expect the project to be like in full swing. I'd love to say that the game has to be done. It can maybe there's tons of servers are going, people are enjoying the game. The second one is on its way, possibly by then. Maybe I'll definitely say I would have at that point I would have put the stories in book format.
Amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I can definitely see how I have the stories nailed down, and maybe there's more ways to go about the Galapagos story. It might be Cryptic Amazon or Cryptic Caribbean. I don't know. It can be anything. But at this time, where I'm at right now, I have a great fundamental idea of what I need. Um, and right before we actually right before we spoke today, One of the guys that's doing like 3D models for me just sent me a whole ton of things that he did, and that also is very motivating. It feels like it's it's not too far, but also not close enough. So
Yeah.
there's a saying that says, as soon as you, I don't know where I heard this. It might have been from you guys actually. Well, as soon as you realize how long something is going to take and make peace with it, the sooner it will happen. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Love that.
I
Like,
love that. That's so nice.
have peace with the fact that it's not going to happen tomorrow, but also keep working at it because it'll happen in a blink of an eye, and then everyone will call you an overnight success. But
Yeah.
it took so much work to get to that point. So I think that's very very that's how I see it. But definitely, man, this game has to be done by in 10 years. 10 years is a long time. Like definitely.
I think, what was it? The Elder Scrolls 6 is still not out yet. I don't know how long that's been in production.
Wow.
We're still waiting on that, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's sure. That's crazy. Even if Cryptic Galapagos is just a PC game for the start, it can. Yeah, I'm thinking a lot. Like I'm thinking very humbly in that sense. I just want to create something, and if we have like, if the game is out on like PS6 by that time, or
mm,
Nintendo 12, or Xbox MMM or whatever, it that's great. But I just want to put one foot behind the in front of the other and just keep moving forward, and we will definitely have a great project. Maybe we'll look back on this and the project is very successful. That's all I want to see because I'm locked in. I want to I want to get this thing going.
amazing. Yeah, I think it's nice to have those almost like time capsules, right? You look back and on you talking
Yes.
about your project whilst you're
Oh,
holding
it's
the
great.
finished product.
Oh,
It'd be a
it's
nice
great.
feeling.
It feels
Absolutely.
amazing.
And speaking of, working on this project and kind of some of the, I guess, pitfalls you've found or the difficulties you've found with starting a YouTube channel, writing this lore, creating this art, trying to get this game up and running. If someone else was going to be starting a world building project soon, and publishing it and showing it to the world, what advice would you give them?
Jeez. I'm definitely like. It's very hard for me to give advice on this because I'm not quite where I feel I want to be yet. But I think what I will say, just to get to this point, at this point in time, I'm standing on like, I mean, I think you also just recently got like 2K subscribers, so we're like, boom, I'm also at 2K. We're the 2K gang, and
Yeah.
it took a lot to just get to this point. And I'd say the most important thing is just to start documenting your world. I'd say that's very very important, and do it for yourself. Uh, Speak to yourself and tell the story, and your audience will arrive naturally. People will like your content, and you'll definitely find people that are definitely moving towards certain concepts, like we spoke about you, and the dragon concept being very popular. But I'll definitely say just start, just go for it, and then also passion is contagious. So share what you love, and if you just speak about it, and people can pick up like you are really excited about this project, and like I said, it's infectious. As soon as you can hear someone really enjoys a concept, and when you pitch them ideas, they'll 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 consider it, and they'll sort of almost baby their project because they want to make sure it's in good hands type of deal. So I think it's very important just to start, just because I my first 3 videos are I'm happy. I was very very happy with them, like obnoxiously happy with them, and then I look back at them and I'm like, but you have to make peace with the fact that your first video is not going to be your best. It just is that those are the facts. Your fifth one might be the best one. Your 10th one, your 100th video might be the best one. You don't know. Just keep making them and just keep improving. Which is something I think me and you also spoke about. Is just keep improving on stuff that you are creating. If you keep improving, you are you're always moving somewhere. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So it's very
Amazing.
very important to to just get started and just be excited about it. And people are always gonna cheer for you at the start of the race and at the finish, but never when you are actually running, so just start and don't announce to everyone that you're going to start this project. Just start it, just do it, just continue with it, and I think you'll get where you need to be. I think that's very, very important. Just start, quite frankly.
So many nice quotes there, actually, for loads of little phrases. I appreciate all of that. That's
There we
amazing.
go. Yeah,
It's
I
really well
have
said.
to.
I think it's one of those things that, like you said, it's people build up this momentum towards starting the project, and they're always on the cusp of getting into it. They're just never quite there. And I
Just
feel as soon
start.
as you cross that threshold, you're on your way, right? And the rest of it seems to come a bit more naturally. I feel so. I think all of that is fantastic advice. Really fantastic.
I think it's like it might be very like I got a lot of support from my friend group, and it's great. I've got a good support system. The fiance is very, very supportive of the project, and there are times where you're very excited. Like I just got like new 3D models today. I'm stoked. You know, she's just not like as stoked as I am, and that's fine. Because she wants to see make this thing move, make it run, make it jump, make it swing a sword,
Yeah.
and I get that. But I'm just like happy to we're moving, we're getting somewhere where your large scale audience will always demand something more. Like I remember uploading a video of my little iguana running. I remember getting this model, getting it the UV textured, getting like the idle animation, running, jumping, walking, all those things, and then just making a little video of this guy running. And then I told everyone, please be kind. It's it's a work in progress. And people were like, yo, where's the tail physics? And I'm like, wow, I don't even know how to do tail physics. I'll figure it out. But it's like that type of thing. And you just, just have to deal with it.
100%.
And you just have to keep running, and then you'll get to a point where people are gonna be excited for you again. But just keep going. It's fun. Enjoy it.
100%. I completely agree. I think that's such a good point as well. As the support network is really important, and I feel like you find the other people who are interested in world building on YouTube when you start to post some of these videos, and it's good
Yes.
when you've got your parents behind you or your best friend, and they're saying, "Oh, this is good. That's a nice picture." But then when you have someone on YouTube who asks you that question that you were waiting for someone to ask,
Oh, it's
"Oh,
gold.
well,
It's
yeah, why did
gold.
you name it this?" Or what, I love the magic system. How did you come? And that is just what kind of pushes you towards creating your next video.
And touching on that, also like at the start when you make a YouTube video, you sort of wanna be a bit of a recluse, like step back and let the people wonder. But I'm like, nah, I'm answering these questions.
Yeah.
I'm interacting, and I think there's something so humble about. I want to reply to as much of the comments as I possibly can. Sometimes there are comments that just simply aren't a question, but
Yeah.
I'll reply anyway and say like, this is a great concept. Like I'm using this, like definitely. And just chatting to these people, like they're actually spending time pausing in their day to comment on your project and say, wow, this is so interesting. I like this. Like, and
Mhm.
I'm letting you know I like this. That's amazing. It's friggin' awesome to me. So I really think there's something very special, especially like you said about people just commenting and asking you a question that you never expected someone to ask. Very, very cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, these kind of support networks that we've built through Discord and YouTube are just it's so nice, and it makes all the
Yeah, I
difference
enjoy
in the
it.
world for
I
sure.
enjoy it. Also, a massive motivational point there.
Absolutely. And speaking of YouTube in general, do you think there's any particular world builders who you would recommend for other people to start? Maybe someone's curious, maybe someone's listening to this podcast and they're like a dungeon master who's accidentally stumbled upon this instead of some like D&D advice, and
Mm.
they want to kind of get a bit deeper into the lore writing, world building side of YouTube. Which big or even small YouTubers would you recommend they check out first?
Sure, I definitely have a few. I've tons. I'm just gonna think about the ones that are like just gonna roll off my tongue right now. Kappa is a good one. A lot of my favorite world building content creators are like it's all based around like nature themes. Like
Mm,
Kappa is very much a speculative evolutionary project about a world. It's literally called Kappa, a world of turtles, where the
yes.
world is just turtles that have evolved. And like there are massive turtles, there are small turtles, there are carnivorous, there are all these different turtles in a basically a massive mosh a world. That just range and there's butterflies and the world literally only has turtles. There's no humans. There's no mammals. It really is only like turtles and some invertebrates, and that's it. And then just the peace that you feel watching those videos are like great, and they just give off the vibes. That one is great. Sawyer, he's a G. He does Dragon Slayer Codex. I just like the artwork that he makes and the
Incredible.
storytelling. Fantastic world building there. I gotta give it to him. He's also very consistent. Um, Tales of Kaimere is also a good one. Very, very consistent. And but that's more like a biological, I'd say ecos. Yeah, he does a lot of ecosystem work, and he talks about animals that in Kaimere, and it's good stuff. A lot of spec evo stuff there. Um, the Bracken Bard is pretty cool. I love the Bracken Bard. I gotta say.
Ah, I don't like
Um,
them.
good stuff, good storytelling, and some very underrated work, I'd say. And then a big one, a big inspiration is also the Monster Garden. Gotta give it to is it Simon?
Simon, yeah.
Great work. Very vibey art. I think if your channel has at least a bit of vibes and aesthetics, it's very important as well to give off a vibe. And he has a big dark fantasy feel. And like Sawyer also has a very to me like a Nordic feel, and then Kappa has a very much futuristic Zen. Everything makes you feel a certain way, and I think that's a very important thing for artists is to make you feel a certain way. Um, and I think those are very important ones to me. I look forward to seeing more of their videos. But those are the ones I'll check out definitely. Yeah, those are my picks. There's definitely more. I just can't think of all of them right now, but there are definitely a whole bunch. I'd love to shout out, our friends Winter and Alba Francescut Art and those guys as well. Um, but yeah, purely out of themes and things that are very similar to my project and things that I look for in inspiration, I'd say those are the guys that I definitely look towards for inspiration and world building advice and things like that.
Amazing.
Definitely.
I'll make sure to put a link to all of their channels below. I'll also do a
Yeah,
little section with Matt's advice.
that's
But
perfect.
great, yeah, I think a good variety there as well, like a real different, but like you said, kind of on the line of the speculative evolution as well. Awesome ideas. Yeah, amazing. Well, Matt, I really appreciate you being here. For this first episode, it's been super interesting. I've made loads of notes from everything you've said, loads of really nice quotes in there as well. I feel like this is going to do very well on the YouTube Shorts, just from these little these little ideas and everything that you've been saying. But really interesting to kind of get into your mind and see your process, and I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me on that. Before we finish, I want to kind of give you a bit of a space to shout out your own project, to tell people what's going on, where they can find you, where they can follow you, where they can support you, and just feel free to go crazy and let the people know.
Oh, sick. I'll just say no, it's fine, but I'm definitely gonna plug.
Yeah, take advantage of it. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Ross. It really is. It's awesome. I thank you for allowing me to just keep on chatting about my little project. I think that to me a very important thing for me right now is just getting assets ready for the game. So I'm using like Patreon funding to just pay for models. So I'm using all the Patreon money to just go directly into the development of the game. So if you simply by just watching the videos and getting those watch hours up, that's going to help me a ton. Watch the YouTube. I'm on Instagram. We have a very, very nice Discord server. I try to do some streaming on there and chat to you guys, do some Q&As. But if you want to support and help fund the project for the time being, Patreon is going to be the best bet. It's pretty simple. There's like a few tiers in there. I want to see if I can simplify it a bit more. But yeah, Patreon is going to be the main one. And I try to update you guys pretty much all the time on me developing everything and where I'm at. But it's a steady race because I need to make videos as well. But I try to use the money to 100% cover cost involved with the game development. And so far we're doing pretty good. So yeah, but the more the merrier. And yeah, watch the YouTube videos. That's going to be the main one. Watch the YouTube, share it, like and subscribe. And as I say, like and subscribe if you want to see this world grow.
Amazing.
Yeah,
We'll make
perfect
sure to
stuff.
put the links to all of them below: Discord, Patreon, YouTube, Instagram as well. We'll get all the links in there so everyone can know where to find you, where to support you as well.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thanks so
Amazing.
much, Ross. I really
Oh,
appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
well, no, thank you for being here, and I appreciate it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where the Cryptic Galapagos goes. It's going to be really cool to see the game and to be able to play it myself. I think you were speaking my language there when you were describing it, but
Hell yeah, let's
absolutely.
go. That's exciting.
Thank you again.
Absolutely.
And
Perfect stuff.
yeah, and if any of you out there are interested in speculative evolution and getting a game like that into your own hands, make sure to check out the links below. I hope you liked that episode of the Bards World Building Podcast. We plan to release these every month or so, so if you want to hear more from the wonderful world builders across the web, be sure to like and subscribe on whatever platform you're currently listening on, so that this is the kind of thing for you. If you have a world builder you'd love to see interviewed, let me know in the comments. Thank you for listening, chaps, and I'll see you next time.